California in Berkeley, USA, and University of Nebraska in Lincoln, USA. Retired as professor from IIT Kanpur after serving for 33 years. Dr. Jain won 3 gold medals, 2 silver medals, and 1 Best Paper Award for his valuable contribution in research. He is an editor-in-chief of 3 international journals and associate editor of International Journal of Engineering Manufacture and Journal of Machining Science and Technology. In recognition to the research work of Dr. Jain, he has been opted as a member of the editorial board of more than 3 international journals. He has also worked as a guest editor for more than 3 special issues on TQM, CAPP, advanced machining processes, micro manufacturing, and microfabrication. He has more than 300 publications, written and edited 8 books, guided 15 PhD students, and around 100 MTech students. Dr. Jain has various research areas of interest: visually, advanced machining techniques, machining of advanced engineering material, shear strain acceleration, phenomenon in metal cutting, computer aided manufacturing, and CAPP. Without wasting time, I request Dr. Jain to start his presentation. Hope all participants will be benefited from the program. Thanks to all of you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Jain sir.
Okay. Good afternoon to everybody. I would like to thank Professor Chauhan, Professor Manoj, and other concerned faculty members for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. I also welcome participants to this particular talk on micromachining and overview. Before I really start, I would like to just inform you and say sorry that today my network is very weak. In between, if it goes, please just call me on phone and then we will talk. Thank you very much. Now let us start with micromachining and overview. Now, since majority of the audience are students and this is always my first slide, there is no substitute for hard work. Whatsoever intelligent you may be, if you are not hard working person, you will not get the desired results out of your intelligentsia. Nowadays, everywhere the talk is R&D, research and development. A good scientist or a good researcher should have the following property. He or she should be keen observer and poverty order should not stop them or should not stop you from going ahead. Please keep these 2 things in mind. Then only you can really be a very good scientist and or researcher. Now, organization of the talk is as follows: micromachining, mechanical type of micromachining, thermal type of micromachining, electrochemical type of micromachining, and chemical type of micromachining. Since the time is limited, I will try to cover most of it. Something is left, then you can see in the books available on this particular subject. Now, first let me start with what is micro manufacturing. A set of processes used to fabricate features, components, or systems with dimensions most conveniently described in micrometer. When we talk of micro manufacturing or micromachining, the dimensions which we are making or fabricating should be less than 1 millimeter and definitely greater than or equal to 1 micrometer. Now, the question arises, what are the various methods of micro manufacturing? So there are these: material deposition can be used for micro manufacturing, material removal can be used forming, shaping processes can be used for this purpose. Joining can be used, and then casting can be used. You can see in material deposition, electrochemical spark deposition. Lot of work has gone in this direction at IIT Kanpur. Electro discharge deposition, chemical vapor deposition, also known as CVP, physical vapor deposition, PVD, rapid prototyping, rapid tooling, additive manufacturing, or layer manufacturing. There are various names for this particular technique. And then finally, legal. Then there are material removal or atresia processes. They are basically of two types: traditional material removal processes and advanced material removal processes. This talk will be concentrated on advanced material removal processes. Then you have forming or shaping, like rolling, forging, extrusion and drawing sheet metal. Then you have the joining processes like welding, brazing, soldering, and then you have the casting process. Now, microfabrication has witnessed an excellence in R&D at a remarkable rate. If you see the last 3 decades or so, a lot of work has gone into micro manufacturing, microfabrication. What is micro machining? This is very important. So it is made up of 2 words: micro plus machining, that's the removal of material at micro level. Now the important thing is macro components, but material removal is at micro nano level. Then also you call it as micro machining. Micro nano components and material removal is at micro nano level. Examples: MEMS and NEMS. Now you can see here a picture. Its size is 2 millimeter by 2 millimeter, and this is the leg of the house fly. You can see in this 2 millimeter by 2 millimeter sheet or screen, how many components are there. So each component is having the size smaller than 1 millimeter or so, and all features of that component are there. But unfortunately, the present day notion related to micro manufacturing is that machining of highly miniature components with miniature features. Literally, it should not be so. It is not correct. Because when we are talking of micro machining, if you see here, it is made up of 2 words: micro plus machining. That simply means machining at micro scale or micro level. So the correct definition is material removal at micro nano level with no constraint on the size of the component. This is very important. You cannot put the constraint on the size of the component. Size of the component may be macro or meso, but still machining is at micro level or nano level. So you call it as micro machining or nano machining. Now, atresia or material removal processes can be classified into micro nano machining, micro nano finishing. In micro nano finishing, you are removing the material at micro or nano level. But the difference between the two is, in micro machining, you are creating a feature, while in micro nano finishing, you are changing the characteristics of the surface produced by other methods, or you are improving the surface finish or deteriorating the surface finish according to the requirement. Because in certain cases, you may have to have the higher surface roughness value. In some cases, you have to have the lower surface value. So let us see what are the various micro machining methods. Now you can see here, we have 2 types of basically micro machining method. One is known as traditional micro machining method, and you are familiar with all these traditional micro machining methods like micro turning, micro milling, micro drilling, micro grinding, etc. Although grinding is a finishing process, but still it's a machining process. Then you have advanced micro machining methods. They can be classified into three categories: mechanical, thermal, and chemical and electrochemical. In case of mechanical, you have micro AGM, abrasive jet machining, ultrasonic micro machining, abrasive butter jet micro machining. Then in mechanical type, you have finishing processes also, like abrasive flow machining, magnetic abrasive finishing, magneto-rheological abrasive flow finishing, magnetic float polishing. A lot of work has gone into these finishing processes at IIT Kanpur. But in this talk, I am not going to talk about nano finishing processes. It is concentrated mainly towards the micro nano machining processes. Then you have the thermal processes: electric discharge micro machining, electron beam micro machining, laser beam micro machining, plasma arc micro machining, and so on. And then you have chemical type or electrochemical type, electrochemical micro machining, photochemical micro machining, and so on. Here I have not listed another category, that is biological machining, where enzymes are being used for machining or removing the material. Then you have these individual processes, and all these processes have certain weaknesses and certain strengths. If an individual process, if one particular process cannot perform your work, then what you will do? You can combine the two processes or more than two processes to achieve your goal. And when you are combining two or more than two processes, then you call it as hybrid process. And you have various types of hybrid processes, as you can see at the bottom: electrochemical spark micro machining processes, electrochemical grinding, electric discharge micro grinding, allied, and so on. Now, the beauty of this electrochemical spark micro machining process is that, you know, ECM, electrochemical machining, is used for electrically conducting material. EDM, electric discharge machining, is used for electrically conducting material. But the question is, what about electrically non-conducting material? So, what researchers have done, they have combined the EDM plus ECM, and they developed a process called electrochemical spark machining. This process is based on both ECM as well as EDM, but it can be used for both electrically conducting material as well as electrically non-conducting material. Now, I will quickly, in brief, tell you about the working principle of mechanical type of micro machining process. It includes abrasive butter jet machining, abrasive jet machining, ultrasonic machining. Now here you can see here, this is the inlet of water, this is the inlet of abrasive particles, and here is a joule, and here is the guard, etc. And this is the mixing tube. In this mixing tube, you are having water as well as abrasive particles. And when this jet is coming, abrasive water jet, as you can see here, it is able to cut very thick metal and non-metal or composite material sheets. This is the abrasive water jet, this is the head, and this is the workpiece being machined. So this process is very common for cutting and even dismantling the nuclear power plants. There you don't want to send the human being, rather you send this to the robot and you dismantle the nuclear power plant. Then you have ultrasonic machining process. Now, one thing I would like to tell here, in case of abrasive butter jet machining, the velocity with which this jet is moving is very, very high. It can be as high as 900 meters per second. So you can calculate the kinetic energy of abrasive particle with which it is hitting the workpiece surface over here, and that kinetic energy is responsible for removing the material in this particular case. Same way, here is the ultrasonic machining or micro machining process principle. This is the tube, and this is the workpiece which is being machined, and you have the slurry. This slurry consists of liquid and abrasive particles mixed with some additives. Now, when you are vibrating this tool, it vibrates at ultrasonic frequency, which simply means around 20,000 hertz, 20,000 times per second. And there are hundreds of abrasive particles, they are hitting the workpiece surface. and this is quite heavy. So with high kinetic energy, when these abrasive particles are hitting the workpiece surface, the workpiece material is removed either by fracturing or by deformation, depending upon the type of the workpiece material. And you are able to create the feature which is close to the replica, inverse replica of the tool. Then you have abrasive jet micromachining. Now here you can see the difference. Here you are using water as the carrier medium for abrasive particles, as you can see here. But in this particular case, you are using air as the carrier medium and abrasive particles. Now when the air abrasive jet is coming out of the nozzle, you can see it is diverging. Now the air velocity out of this nozzle bottom is around 200 to 300 meter per second. And when these abrasive particles with high kinetic energy hit the workpiece surface, they are able to create a cavity of this kind. Depending upon the shape of the nozzle, you get the shape of the cavity. And the distance between the bottom face of this nozzle and the surface where from you are removing the material, say this surface over here, that distance is known as nozzle tip distance. Nozzle tip distance. And depending upon the value of the nozzle tip distance, the shape of this cavity being created is changing. As you can see here, as the nozzle tip distance here is 0.75 millimeter, quite straight sided cavity you are getting. But as you increase this 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, 2 millimeter, you can see the change in the shape of the cavity being formed. Width is increasing, depth is decreasing as you are increasing the extent of distance or nozzle tip distance. Now, the problem is in these three processes, how the material removal is taking place. Now, you can have the two types of the material, brittle material and ductile material. When it is a brittle material and abrasive particle is hitting the workpiece material, then the brittle material will fracture. As you can see here, cracks are being formed. And when these cracks combine together, this material is being removed from here due to the brittle fracture. But if the material is ductile and it is the abrasive particle is hitting at an angle other than 90 degrees, then deformation takes place. Now the question arises, if the workpiece material is ductile and the abrasive particle is hitting at 90 degrees, what will happen? The solution is that, or the answer is that, by repetitive hitting of the abrasive particles on the workpiece, the material properties change, workpiece material properties change, and it, because of strain hardening, it becomes more or less like a hard material and brittle material. And once it becomes a brittle material, the mechanism of material removal is the same as I have shown over here. Then there you can see here forces are acting. One is the normal force as you can see here, and this is the cutting force. This is removing the material in the form of the microchip, or here are the brittle fractures. Abrasive jet micromachining or abrasive jet machining. Now, I am not going to discuss all these things. Various types of abrasives are used. The gases, other than air, you can use the carbon dioxide gas or nitrogen or air as the gas. And then nozzle is made up of tungsten carbide or sapphire. You can see various elements of this particular process. Here is the gas supply in the cylinder. Filter is there. Then powder supply and mixer is over here. And then it is vibrating. It is vibrating so that the powder, which is having micron size, and air, they get mixed up, and that mixture goes out from here. Control valve is there, and once air abrasive jet comes over here, it is able to remove the material. It is quite commonly used for cleaning purposes also and finishing purposes also. And you can see hood is here, so that whatever air abrasive particles are spreading in the atmosphere, they don't go in the atmosphere and hurt or harm the operator. Rather, it is taken out from the hood. And you can see here, these are some of the applications of this abrasive particle jet cutting. This cavity has been formed, and they are going to cut it. This cavity has been formed, and these cavities can be of more than 1 millimeter. They can be of less than 1 millimeter, depending upon the size of the nozzle and the machining parameters that you are using over there. You can see here, this is the initial shape of the cavity being formed by the abrasive jet micromachining process. This is due to the one pass, one single pass of that, and this is after 11 passes, this shape changes to this particular shape. You can clearly see here magnification is different. Here it is 100 magnification, here it is 200 magnification. That's why shapes are different. Then there is a very strong process known as abrasive butter jet machining process. Lot of work has gone into it at IIT Madras, Chennai, and IIT Kanpur. Now you can see here as the working principle, as I have shown to you this particular figure already. Now you can see this is how it looks like. Abrasive particles are coming and they are mixing with the water jet, and this abrasive water jet comes out from this nozzle tip, and that is shown over here in the bluish color. So you can clearly see the same figure. This is the abrasive butter jet. This is a composite sheet being cut by this particular process. Now the here important is, if you can have the high feed, you can have the low feed, you can have the medium feed. If you have the low feed, then this is the kind of the surface being cut will be obtained. If you have the medium feed, you can see you don't find a lot of striations over here. But if you see here, these are the striations being formed over here, then you are using the medium feed rate. And when high feed rate is there, these kind of striations are formed. In some material is removed which is unmachined. So this may not be acceptable to you in most of the cases, except very few cases where your objective is just to cut the workpiece material into 2 parts or more than 2 parts. Ultrasonic micromachining. Now these are the elements of the ultrasonic micromachining setup: ultrasonic power supply, ultrasonic transducer, tool holder, tool, and abrasives are there. You can clearly see here. I am not going to discuss. All this is given there in the books. Like transducer is here, mechanical amplifier is there, which is amplifying the vibration amplitude. Sonotrode is there, and this is the pump which is supplying the slurry. Slurry means carrier liquid and abrasive particles. And this is the tool which is vibrating at ultrasonic frequency, and this is the workpiece over here, and slurry tank is over here. Now let us see certain applications. These are the machining conditions under which this has been machined. Now these are the kind of the micro holes that have been drilled with the help of ultrasonic micromachining. It is 66 micrometer, and machining conditions are given over here. Amplitude of vibration 5 micron is there. Size of the abrasive particle is important. It is 1 to 3 micron. So this is very important to maintain. If it is the large size of abrasive particle, then you cannot get so fine hole being drilled. Now you can clearly see some shape of this particular edge and the roughness on this particular edge. Now then you can see here, now this particular cavity has been formed by different processes. I will show you in other electrochemical micromachining also. Now you can clearly see this is the pillar, and this is the cavity which has been formed. The square cavity has been formed, and in between this is there. So you can easily make this particular shape on the component by designing the nozzle or the tool in a proper shape, so that nothing is removed from here, but rather machining is taking place all around this, and you can easily get this particular shape. And this is in terms of 100 micrometer is this length. So you can see here, this is around 300 to 400 micrometer this size, 300 to 400 micrometer is per size, and this may be around 50 micrometer. This protrusion or pillar is there. Now then there are the thermal micromachining processes. now which includes electric discharge micromachining, and then you have the beam micromachining, which includes laser beam micromachining, electron beam micromachining, ion beam micromachining. And in fact, ion beam micromachining, although I have put it here in thermal micromachining processes, because most of the researchers and the book writers have written it in thermal processes, but in my opinion, it is not a thermal process, rather it is more of a mechanical type of process. I will explain it later on to you. Now, beam technology, ion beam machining, how it is working now, just see here. You are you have liquid metal source over there, compressor, extractor is there, you have the lenses over here, and aperture is here. So a beam is coming, ions are coming out of it, this, and you can deflect this ion beam either on the right side or on the left side, and lenses are there. With the help of the lenses you can do it. And this is the ion beam over here, and these ions are hitting the workpiece surface, and you know, once they are hitting, it has a certain kinetic energy, and because of that kinetic energy, with that kinetic energy, once they are hitting the workpiece surface, they are able to remove the material, as you can see over here. I explained. Now, when these ions are coming and hitting the workpiece surface, whatever is the bonding energy of these two atoms or a particular atom with the surrounding atom, if the energy transferred by these ions to that particular atom is more, then what will happen? That atom should be displaced from the top surface of the workpiece, and ion also may get displaced, and you should be able to remove the material atom by atom. One atom removed by one ion, this is an ideal condition. But what happens, really speaking, that the energy of ion is much more than the bonding energy of the atoms. So if you see really what happens, the one particular ion removes more than one atom, cascading effect, that is known as. And once it removes more than one atom, and what it does, still if it has larger energy, it will go and get implanted at the bottom, as you can see over here. Really speaking, we don't want the implantation of the ions at the bottom, because they are, that is known as defect. So this is how it works. Now let us see. Here is the electron beam machine. Here we are using the ion. Now you know you can have the electrons and ions in any atom. Now atoms, these electrons are considered to be massless, means they hardly have any mass as compared to the ions or the atoms. But we are able to utilize the electrons for removal of the material. How? The electrons are extracted from the cathode and they move from there towards the anode. Anode is there, here is the anode, and these are the focusing coil, deflecting coil. With the help of the focusing coil, you can focus this beam at a particular point on the workpiece surface, and you can move this beam in this direction or this direction with the help of deflection coil. Now, the atoms, they are considered to be massless, but we know the kinetic energy of a particle is half mv square. V is the velocity, m is the mass of the particle, or here it is the electron. Now, it's negligible, but the velocity with which these electrons are moving from cathode towards the anode or towards the workpiece over here, which is very close to the velocity of light. And the kinetic energy becomes half mv square. V is the velocity. So if you calculate, you will find it has enough energy, and when it hits the workpiece surface, it is able to raise the temperature of the workpiece surface, which is enough to melt and vaporize the workpiece surface. So, in fact, any material, including diamond, you can melt or you can vaporize, or you can melt and vaporize the workpiece material depending upon the workpiece material type. And as such, if you have the relative motion between the beam and the workpiece, you can create different kind of features on the workpiece surface. Now, so this is how iron beam machining and electron beam machining are working very efficiently. One thing I would like to mention, I forget. In fact, iron beam machining is not used for even for micro machining. It is used for nano machining. Micro machining of this by iron beam machining takes a lot of time. So normally it is used for nano machining, but electron beam micro machining is used for micro machining. Laser beam machining is used for micro machining. Now you can see here there are the two types of the laser. One is the continuous wave laser, another is the pulse laser. And in pulse laser also you have long pulse laser and short pulse laser. So what if you are using the long pulse laser, you can see various kind of defects are created. This is the laser beam, long pulse laser beam, and it is hitting the, or it is creating this cavity on the workpiece surface. And you can see earlier structure are defect damaged over here. These are the earlier structure over there. This is the recast layer. This is the heat affected zone over here. And other kinds of the defects, these are the micro cracks or nano cracks created over here. So when you are using long pulse layer and you are creating the feature, many kinds of defects are expected. But if you are using the short pulse layer and then you are creating the same feature like this, you can see over here, there is hardly any defect being created over here. No defect is there. Cavity size is also controlled over here. So it is always recommended. Now you can see here, lot of overcut is here. But here, there is hardly any overcut in case of short pulse. So you are able to get very neat and clean and accurate feature. And this is the structure, side structure, which is not getting damaged. While in this particular case, the side structure got damaged. So when we are talking of micro, nano features creation, in those cases, we go for iron beam machining, electron beam machining, or laser beam machining. Now there is another process which is most commonly used in the today's industry is the electric discharge micro machining and electric discharge machining. Working principle is very simple over here. I will explain you. Here is the tool, that is the cathode, and here is the workpiece, that is the anode. And between the two, you have the dielectric, which is normally electrically conducting. But if you apply high voltage between the two, then what will happen? Dielectric will break, and you will have a plasma column over here, as shown over here. And because plasma column is having very high temperature, as a result of that, part of the material is melted and vaporized from the tool as well as from the workpiece, as you can see here. So craters are formed here over here. This dielectric is continuously moving in this particular direction. So these molten material, or I should say accurately, part of this molten material is taken away from the inter-electrode gap. This is known as the gap between the bottom face of the workpiece, bottom face of the tool and top face of the workpiece from where material is being removed. That is known as inter-electrode gap. And this molten material is removed. However, the efficiency with which this molten material is removed is very low. So what you get the recast layer over there, and machining rate is very small in this particular case. So this is known as electric discharge micromachining. The inter-electrode gap is around a couple of 100 micrometers, as written here, 300 micrometer, 400 micrometer in case of EDM, and few tens of micrometer in case of electric discharge micromachining. Now, electric discharge micromachining, some of the features that I would like to say: ability to machine any electrically conducting material irrespective of their hardness. If you recollect, traditional micromachining processes like micro turning, micro milling, micro drilling, etc., their tool has to be much harder than the workpiece material. So there are a lot of constraints as long as micromachining are concerned. In case of electric discharge micromachining, there is no constraint of the hardness of the workpiece material. Machining can be done without applying pressure. Also, in case of EDMM and EDM, you are not applying any mechanical force. You can easily machine curved surfaces, inclined surfaces, and very thin sheets can be machined. Micro machining. When I say machine, they can be micro machine, micro features can be created, and you can create high aspect ratio. with the help of electric discharge micromachining. High aspect ratio, you know it, depth divided by the diameter of the feature being created, right? So that is known as aspect ratio. Now, examples of EDMM process. Now you can clearly see here, these are the micro holes that have been drilled. Now you can clearly see 12.5 micrometer, 10.5 micrometer, 8.5 micrometer, 6.5 micrometer. These are the kind of holes which have been drilled using electric discharge micromachining process. Now you can see this is the rod or the small pillar that has been created with the help of, or the tool that has been created with the help of electric discharge micromachining. And the same tool has been used for drilling a hole. That's known as in situ utilization of the tool. And this is very important because if you shift this tool to some other machine, then axis difference will be there and you will not get the accurate size of the hole. So it is always desirable that wherever you are creating the tool for micromachining or especially electric discharge micromachining and electrochemical micromachining, on that machine itself you should do the micromachining operation. Now you can see here clearly, this is the 50 micrometer electrode that have been created using the electric discharge micromachining over here, and 68 micrometer bite slot drilled with 50 micrometer electrode. Using these electrodes of 50 micrometer, which we have again created with the EDMM process itself, these are the slots in this direction. So you can see 68 micrometer, that means 68 minus 50, 18 micrometer is the overcut over here. Now 22 micrometer diameter hole has been drilled with 6 micrometer electrode. This is the 6 micrometer electrode which has been used to drill 22 micrometer hole. That simply means 16 micrometer is the overcut. So all it depends upon what machining conditions you are using, that will decide what is the overcut over there. Now you can see another interesting example over here. This is certain micro feature that has been created, that is microfluidic mixture has been created over here with the help of electric discharge micromachining. When you enlarge it, then it is, this feature shape is like this only. So you can see this is the mixture that has been created. You have the cavity pillar over here, cavity is there, and so on. When fluid is passing, it will get mixed up over here. So this is how you can create very fine feature over there with the help of electric discharge micromachining. Then you have 0.52 millimeter diameter extrusion die is created. That is 520 micrometer die is created with the help of this particular process. This 655 micrometer hole is created over here, and these are the other features. Gears are there and some wires are there that have been created. And here you can see ladder with 100 micrometer gap between the teeth. So this is the 100 micrometer gap, and these are the ladders that have been created with the help of electric discharge. So you can see here of various shapes and sizes of micro feature can be created with the help of electric discharge micromachining process. Now, so you can appreciate by these examples that yes, these are the kind of the different components created. Now, please note it very carefully. I am calling all of them as the micro machining, but the size of the component is in macro or meso size. That means much larger than 1 millimeter size. Then there is a process called wire EDM. Here, in place of the tool, wire is being used as a tool. You can see here, this is the dielectric supply and this is the wire. So wire EDM is very commonly used in large scale and medium scale industry, although it is very expensive machine. It may cost even more than 1 crore of rupees. But it is very commonly used, and you can easily cut it, because if you want to create this kind of the feature, or if you want to cut this in 2 parts, so you can easily cut it with the help of the wire EDM process or wire electric discharge micromachining, because this shape that you are creating, it may be few hundred micron wide, And that's why you can put it in electric discharge micro machining. And here is the wire which is acting as the cathode or the tool. This is the workpiece, which is acting as the anode, and this is the dielectric, and you are having relative motion between the wire and the workpiece. Now you can clearly see this is the wire, and this is the spark gap. Certain gap is there, spark gap between this, and this is the slot. So whatever is the difference between the slot width and the wire diameter, that is known as overcut. This is the microstructure of wire that has been cut with the help of the wire radius, and all dimensions they are in micron. You can see the scale. This is a 200 micron. So all these dimensions are within few hundred micron, much smaller than 1 millimeter. Then very famous, very useful process is known as laser beam micromachining. Now I think all of you may recollect your small child days, where you quite possibly you might have taken a lens and you must have concentrated the sun rays and might be burning a piece of paper and telling to your friend, oh, see, here is the magic. I am able to burn a piece of paper with the help of this particular device, that is the lens. And what you are doing really is you are concentrating the sun rays, and the temperature becomes so high or energy becomes so high that paper burns out. Similar kind of concept has been used in developing the laser beam machining and laser beam micro machining process. Here, as you can see here, you have the laser gun. Laser beam is created over here with the help of lens. It is concentrated, and at a particular point, it is focused. And the temperature is so high in case of this particular process, laser beam micro machining or laser beam machining, that any material known to us can be melted or evaporated with this particular process at that particular point. Now, if you have the relative motion between the workpiece and the laser beam, then you can create different kind of feature. This material, workpiece material, can be metal, it can be non-metal, or it can be a composite material. It need not be electrically conducting or non-conductive, but the two constraints are there, that this material should not have very high thermal conductivity and it should not be highly reflective. Otherwise, you cannot machine it efficiently. That is the main problem or main constraint with this particular process. Now, there are two types of the laser. One is the CO2 laser. Sorry, there are two types of basically two types of laser: gas laser and solid state laser. Now, here are the lasing medium is say CO2 or Nd:YAG laser, and wavelength you can see here. Excimer laser 193 to 351 nanometer. In case of CO2, 10 micron, and in case of Nd:YAG laser, 1.064 micron. These are the wavelengths. Now, laser beam micromachining, working principle I have already explained. It is simple. You have the flash lamp over here. This is the lens over there, and this is the laser beam, and this is the workpiece, and power supply is there. I have not explained it in detail. Now, there are certain properties why laser is so commonly used in industry and other day-to-day life also. It is monochromatic, single wavelength is there, coherent, same phase relationship is there, and directional low divergence. This is very important. It has very low divergence and beam spreads very little. And finally, you have very high intensity of usable photons. That is very important. That's why I told you that any material known to us can be either melted and vaporized, or it can be vaporized, or it can be burned with this particular process. Now you can see here, this I have shown to you earlier. This is the enlarged view of the same picture which I explained to you earlier. You can see the defects clearly over here. See, surface debris are there. This is the damage caused to adjacent structure over here, and this is the cavity being created. This is the melt zone. Shock plate is moving over there. These are the micro nano cracks being formed over here. It is the recast layer, and it is the ejected molten material that is going out of it, and it may get deposited here or elsewhere. So you can see clearly here, when you are using the long pulse laser for micromachining, you get so many defects. Hence, it is recommended not to use the long pulse laser, rather use the short pulse laser. Now you can see here, there is hardly any surface damage over here. There is no damage caused to the adjacent structure. There is no recast layer, and so many other things are not there. So process characteristics are here. I'm not going to deal in detail. I am just telling you the mechanism of material removal is melting and vaporization. Medium is normal atmosphere. Tool is high power laser beam, and maximum material removal, this is very high. Normally it is not so. Normally it is very, very small. 5 cubic millimeter per minute. Specific power consumption 1005 watts per millimeter cube minute. Now another thing is it can be used for all materials. As I told you, the very high power consumption is there, and it cannot cut material with high heat conductivity and high reflectivity. These are the two constraints with this particular process. Otherwise, it is very useful. Now see the very interesting application of laser beam micromachining. You can see here 511 nanometer. This is the cut. It is less half of the micrometer cut over there, and you cannot create such kind of the cut by other processes so easily. And this is the another already existing cavity, and this has been cut with the help of laser beam micromachining setup. Now this is the microfluidic device in silicon showing laser drilled via hose and connecting channel. Now this is the connecting channel which has been created. You can see the cleanliness of the channel, and this is the hose that has been drilled. Now this is very interesting. I don't know whether you can see me or not, but I don't have the hair. But most of you may be having hair. Now if I ask you to write your own name on the hair, I don't think you can write your own name on the hair. But it has been done. As you can see this figure, it is EXCIMER, excimer laser. And this is written on the human hair. So you can see the clarity of the letters that have come excimer laser over here. So what I am trying to tell is that you can use excimer laser for even cutting such kind of the material, because heat intensity is comparatively low. So you can see here micro machine letter on a single human hair. Now you can see here laser cut stent-like pattern. Now this is the stent-like pattern over here on the stainless steel tube is 1.25 millimeter. The outer diameter of this tube is 1.25 millimeter, and you can see you are able to create micro features on this particular tube. This is a stent-like pattern over there. And then there is another one. You can see the whole of 15 micrometer. Circular hole and square hole have been drilled on this particular tube with the help of laser beam micromachining, and such kind of features you can create easily with the help of laser beam micromachining. Then there is very interesting and useful process that is known as electro beam machining and electron beam micromachining. I have already explained the working principle of this process, like the same figure was shown to you earlier. Now it works in much the same way as cathode ray tube in a television works. You can see cathode section is there, anode section is there, then you have the lens system over here, and the electron beam is coming over here. Now the question here is that in this particular chamber, whether you should have air atmosphere or vacuum. Now let us see here why vacuum is required. Now this is the electron beam which is coming over here and hitting the workpiece surface. And there is a vacuum. So there is no interaction between the air molecule and the electron beam. But if you see this one, here air is there inside this. We have not created the vacuum in the machining chamber, and you can see these electron beams are hitting, colliding with the air molecules, and they are dispersing, going away from their path. Whatever energy they will be having, but molecules are also quite strong, and you are not able to get a good cut over here. You need very high kinetic energy for getting reasonably good cut over here. So it's always desirable to have vacuum in the machining chamber in case of electron beam micromachining. Now, with the help of electron beam micromachining, some industry people created this 90 micrometer holes over there with the density of holes density of 4,000 holes per square centimeter on stainless steel, and thickness of this sheet is 0.2 millimeter, and the time taken is just 10 microsecond per hole. But you know, industry people, we are not happy, especially the textile industries and fruits industries, which are making the juice of the fruit. They say, oh, it is too big. We don't want that. Then they created the holes of 6 micrometer, 0.006 millimeter, 6 micrometer. Hole size is there. Holes density is 200,000 holes per centimeter square, and thickness is 0.12 millimeter, and the time taken is just 2 microsecond per hole. Here it was taking 10 microseconds per hole. So you can see the kind of the capabilities with electron beam micromachining, you can do it, and you can make many required components with this particular process. Ion beam micromachining, I have explained to you the mechanism. It is known as sputtering off, that is knocking out atoms from the workpiece that I have told you surface by the kinetic momentum transfer from incident ion to the target atoms. Removal of atoms will occur when the actual energy transfer exceeds the bonding energy of the atoms. Now, this I have explained to you directly. Now you can see here, this is the incident angle theta, and this is the ion which is coming over here. And the kinetic energy of this ion is just equal to the bonding energy of the atom. And you can see one ion is able to remove the one atom, and therefore this is the ideal situation. Low energy ion beam machining, this is the ideal case which we want. But in fact, in real practice, it does not happen. The kinetic energy of these ions is very high. One ion removes many atoms, as you can see over here, and it gets implanted. And once it gets implanted, this becomes the damage to the structure. We don't want this kind of the feature to take place. Now, so what it means, at sufficiently high energy, the cascading event takes place. Events will penetrate more deeply into the solid. Several atoms or molecules will be ejected out, and the bombarding ion will become implanted deep within the material. That is what I have shown to you. Is the implantation by one ion, more than one atoms are being displaced or removed. Now, typical, I have told you, typical that this particular process is not good for micro machining, rather it is good for nano machining. As you can see in this particular table, that this table was prepared by Dr. Arvind long back, a couple of decades back, for his PhD thesis. Now you can see the material is here, and material removal rate is here, micrometer per hour. That means quartz, you can remove 2 micrometer per hour, ceramic 1 micrometer per hour, gold 2 micrometer per hour, silver 3 micrometer per hour. So it's a very low material removal rate. Electrochemical micromachining, quickly I will explain you because time is not there. Now, working principle is simple. You know the electroplating, Faraday's laws of electrolysis. We have the tool here, you have the workpiece over here. Electrolyte is here. Electrolyte is electrically conducting. When you supply the current to this particular system or arrangement, electrolysis takes place. And as a result of that, electrolysis workpiece material is dissolved, and ferrous hydroxide, suppose it is iron, in that case ferrous hydroxide or ferric hydroxide is formed, and this electrolyte is moving out of this inter-electro gap at reasonably good velocity, 20 to 30 meters per second. So you are able to create inverse replica of the tool on the workpiece surface, approximately inverse replica. And this is the principle which is used for electrochemical micromachining. These are various kind of the setups that have been developed. This setup was developed at Jadavpur University At IIT Kanpur, many setups we have developed for electrochemical micromachining. So the reactions, if it is the iron, reactions that are taking place are ferrous plus water. They are ferrous hydroxide plus hydrogen gas is developed. Oh, sorry. And if it is, in some cases you get the ferrous hydroxide, in some cases you get the ferric hydroxide. So it is very important to know what is the valency at which a particular material or workpiece material is dissolving if you want to design the tool for electrochemical micromachining. Microtexturing, this electrochemical micromachining has been used for microtexturing. This work was done by Dr. Divyans Patel, who has recently completed his PhD. I think all of you know this lotus. Now the question is, why water does not stay on the lotus leaf? Now if you see the enlarged view of this lotus leaf, it is something like this. You have the micropillars over here. And micropillars are having the nano hairs over here. And this surface becomes a hydrophobic surface. Now the question was how to create this hydrophobic surface artificially. Now you can see here the schematic diagram. These are the pillars over here and these are the nano hairs over here. And some dimensions are given here. If you can create this kind of from the material, that may be metal or that may be non-metal, then you can create a hydrophobic surface. It has a lot of applications in real life. And this is the another one, esculenta. Now you can see here you have the micropillars or over here on this particular one, and then you have the nano hairs over here, and these are all hydrophobic surfaces like this over here. That means water does not stay over there. Contact angle is more than certain angle. Now you can see here the hydrophobic surface is shown over here. This is the difference between this and this. And we wanted to create this kind of the surfaces artificially on the metals. Dr. Divyans Patel did a lot of work in this particular area. You can see here this is the hydrophobic fabric. Nowadays people are making hydrophobic fabric. So if you go during raining season, your clothes do not get wet. Or if you are going inside the sea or inside the river, your clothes will not get wet. So this kind of the hydrophobic surfaces or hydrophobic fabrics are being produced. Now see the shoes over here. This is having the hydrophobic surface. This is not having the hydrophobic surface. Then he went inside the mud. You can see the difference in the shoe. This is not having the hydrophobic surface, so it has a lot of the muds over there. It is having hydrophobic surface, so no mud is remaining over here. This is the sea, bottom of the ship. Now you can see here, this is not having the hydrophobic surface, this is having the hydrophobic surface. So bioorganisms are there, no bioorganisms are there. So it has a lot of application. Even in the ship, it has applications in creating the wings of the ship so that no ice get deposited or no water get deposited over there. Now you can see water wise application over here. It is just staying over there, not getting adhered to the surface. This is the kind of the features that were created at IIT Kanpur. Electrochemical surface texturing. Texturing was done, microchannels were created. Now important thing is, first they created the microchannel in this direction, then at 90 degrees they created the microchannel in this direction. So they were able to create, you can see here pillars of this kind. Now with the help of the finishing process like magnetic abrasive finishing or other processes, they were able to create the nano hairs over these surfaces. Once you are able to create the micropillars and then nano hairs, you are able to create highly hydrophobic surface. These are the micropillars. Over this, by magnetic abrasive finishing or other finishing, nano hairs can be created. And you will be able to create the hydrophobic surface. As you can see over here, some of the micropillar array that has been created at IIT Kanpur. This is more clearly shown over there, and such kind of this was done by different researchers at IIT Kanpur. You can clearly see here. Now on these surfaces, they were supposed to create the nano hairs. And once nano hairs are created, you will have a highly hydrophobic surface having the contact angle more than 130, 140 degrees. Now you can see here, these are the kind of the holes that have been. Hole is very small. I will finish it quickly. There's no worry. Now, as I told you in the beginning, this is the kind of the another feature that has been created. 3D feature, as I told you earlier also, that this kind of cavity has been created by different micromachining processes. So you can create it with the help of electrochemical micromachining. This pillar is there, bottom pillar is or bottom platform is there, and this is the base. So this kind of base you can create a small prism 5 micrometer over here. This is one, and 10 micrometer by 12 micrometer is this one, bottom one, and then you have the large cavity over here, maybe couple of 100 micrometer. Now here you can see clearly by through mass electrochemical micromachining, long range accuracy and reproducibility of 30 micrometer cavity. You can see how nicely they are looking for it. This is the scale, this is the 100 micrometer. You can see the enlarged view of this cavity over here, how smooth finish or how good finish has been obtained over here on these micro cavities. They have a lot of applications. Now there are various processes, electrochemical micromachining, which can be used for micro hole drilling. I will just name them. Electrochemical drilling. You have the tool over here, electrolyte is coming over here, and it is going out from here. So if the tool size is in microns, then you can get electrochemical micro drilling over here. Now this is the shape tube electro machine. This is used for creating holes, cooling holes in turbine blades by making manufacturers. Now, what you are doing it here, this is the titanium tube is there, and this is the coating, insulation coating, so that you know overcut is not large, and you can get very accurate holes over here. This is known as shape tube electromachining. A lot of work has been done at IIT Kanpur by Dr. Bilgi in this direction, and as well as electrochemical drilling direction for macro as well as micro. Now, this is another process where you have the electrolyte is coming over here. Now, this is the platinum wire, and this is the glass tube capillary. So, what you are doing really, rather than having the metallic tool, you are having the metallic wire only, and then tube is there, glass tube is there, or glass capillary is there, through which electrolyte is coming. And since this is connected to the negative terminal, workpiece is connected to the positive terminal, so circuit is completed, and you can get a micro hole over here, like this particular process. Then instead of using this wire up to the bottom, what people have done, they have not used the wire up to the bottom, rather they have, because you know this electrolyte itself acts as a cathode. So they are sending the electrolyte into the cavity. As you can see here, this is the electrolyte jet. And this electrolyte jet, and this is positive, electrolyte jet is negative, so circuit completes and you are able to drill very fine micro holes with the help of electro stream drilling or jet electro drilling. Same principle, except that you are using here wire outside, you are supplying the electrolyte over here. Sorry, wire no, they are using again the electrolyte over here, and this electrolyte is coming, which is negatively, this nozzle is negatively charged, so electrolyte is getting negatively charged, and this is the electrolyte, and you are able to get fine, very fine holes over here. So the difference here is, here you are using a wire for charging the electrolyte, here nozzle is being negative or cathode, the electrolyte is getting charged. So these are the various versions of the electrochemical micro drilling. Another very important application is electrochemical micro nano deburring. Whenever you are drilling a hole with the help of traditional machining or micro machining processes, you get what is known as burr. You can see over here, burrs are there. Now, if you don't remove the burrs and you use this component as in the assembly, then the life of the component will go very low. So burr removal is very important. So what people have done it, these micro nano burrs, they have been removed with the help of electrochemical deburring process, and this is the cathode, and this is the metallic part, so they are the anode here, and as you know, and this is the insulated tool over there, so it will not machine these sides at all. And you know, wherever there is a sharp aging, the current density is very high. So highest current density is on these burrs. So when you are supplying the current, these burrs get dissolved, and you get the deburring process over there, very efficient. Now, electrochemical spark micromachining, as I told you earlier, that EDM and ECM processes have been combined together. A lot of work has been done in this direction by Dr. Anjali Kulkarni at IIT Kanpur, and the setup for that. Now you can see here, this is the micro 8 that has been fabricated by her for her PhD thesis work using this electrochemical spark micromachining process. 355 micrometer is the width of this particular 8 letter which was formed by her. Now, IIT Kanpur, some students have developed micro mixture using the electrochemical micromachining. If you want, see, this is the one where from ink is coming, and this is the one where from water is coming. If you want to mix them, especially in case of micro mixing, you have to develop a micro mixture, and this is the micro mixture that has been developed at IIT Kanpur with the help of electrochemical micromachining process by MTech student. And you can see here, this is the one fluid, this is the another fluid. Both of them are getting mixed up over here, and the mixture is coming over here and going out. I mean, all these dimensions are in micrometer, and so you have to create these channels in terms of micrometers. This we have already seen. Now you can see this is the picture or photograph when it is machining, so a spark is being created over here in electrochemical machine. This I have already shown to you. Conclusions, I can conclude that by using advanced micromachining processes, you can successfully apply it for creating different kind of the features with the help of different types of advanced micromachining process. It does not mean that you cannot use traditional one, but traditional also have their own limitation. Thank you very much. These are the processes from where you can get the material, whatever I have discussed over here. Advanced machining processes, micromachining, micro manufacturing, and nano finishing science and technology. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. That was a wonderful session.
I hope you hear me well.
Yeah, I hope participants would have definitely been benefited. As this is a query round, question answer session, so I request participants to raise their hands if they have any query. If anybody wants to ask a question, please raise your hand. Yes, Dr. Vishesh J. Padeka. Yes, sir. Please ask question.
Please tell me your question. Sorry.
Dr. Vishesh.
Yeah.
Please
hello,
ask
sir.
your question. Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
I cannot get.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
sir. This is Vishwesh Badeka from Pandit Dindayal Petroleum University, Gandhinagar. Sir, it was a wonderful session, and I attended your previous sessions as well. And I just would like to know, sir, your views on utilization of EDM for joining processes, for joining application. Utilization of EDM for metal joining.
Can you repeat your question, please?
Hello, sir. Shall I repeat?
Please repeat your question.
EDM, yes. Yeah, EDM for metal joining.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know that EDM is used for metal joining because EDM is electric discharge machining. Now there is another process, electric discharge deposition process, right?
Right.
So that deposition, by deposition you are creating the micro nano feature. That is a different one, but not machining process. Now you can easily say, if you want to use it, that arc is used for joining purposes like arc welding, right?
Right.
So you can use that one for joining, but it's not a EDM process. It's a joining process, altogether different concept. Concept in the sense you are melting and joining it. You are adding the additional material and then joining the two parts. But here you are cutting the two parts, or you are removing the material from the part.
Yes, sir. So I have come across. I have come across, sir, one or two report where it was mentioned the utilization of EDM for some joining application.
No, that's what I am telling. See, the principle of EDM and arc welding, they are close to each other. Because in arc welding, what are you doing? You are melting the workpiece material, two parts to be joined, plus you are melting the additional material that you want to fill up that gap. So heat is being used and plasma channel is being formed, and that heat is utilized for melting purposes. Same way in EDM, you are melting the material, vaporizing the material, but you are removing it with the help of flow of the dielectric. So rather than depositing it, you are removing it because your objective is to create the feature by removing the material. In welding, you are creating the joint, or you can even say that you are creating the feature by filling up the material.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your view, sir.
Welcome. Yes, please.
Next one, mechanical engineer IIT Tirupati.
Sir, I am Professor Ravi Shankar.
Ravishankar, how
Yes.
are you?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. So my question to you is, which is the best process among the advanced machining process for finishing of 3D printed components?
On finishing purposes. Today
So-
I told in the beginning, I will not name, I have not taken your name because I have not discussed any finishing processes, but you are
No. No, I want it. I want.
now.
I want in terms of electrochemical polishing and other things, sir. Chemical polishing, electrochemical polishing, all these things.
No,
Can we?
I could understand why you are asking this question. I wanted to tell, but I told earlier so that other participants know that you have done a lot of work on nano finishing. Now, people are doing a lot of work on electrochemical finishing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you are using low current, it is removing the material atom by atom. When you are using low current, then you can use it for finishing purposes also.
Okay, sir.
But one thing I will caution you, Professor Ravi Shankar and other participants, that this is good basically for pure metal. If you are using alloy, then
Okay.
the dissolution rate of different elements of the alloy is different, and you will not be able to get good surface finish. For getting good surface finish, you have to post processes and then you have to apply nano finishing processes like MAF, MRF, or MREF, what you have already done it on different, you have worked it on different processes. So if it is alloy, it is very difficult. If it is pure metal, yes, you can use electro polishing, etc.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. Because I was in an illusion to polish alloys, but I was not getting the uniform. That's why just whatever you said is
Allah,
yeah,
you have more than one
dissolution.
element, and different
Yeah,
elements have physical equivalent.
yeah, dissolution rates will be different at different locations. You mean to say?
Exactly, exactly. That's why you
Thank you,
can
sir.
fill up kind of the things at micro nano level, and surface is not very good.
So thank you, sir. At least I
Yeah.
talked to you. That is, I'm happy that I talked to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Next one is
Thank you, Ravi.
Vipin Das K.
Hello, can you hear me, sir? Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Hello. I can.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. This is Vipin Das. Sir, this is Vipin Das from Pandit Deendayal Petroleum University, Gandhinagar. Sir, I have listened to your lecture. It was very nice. Sir, I have only one question regarding ultrasonic machining, the micro ultrasonic machining. Sir, in the micro ultrasonic machining, the size of the tool is going to be very small. For example, if you want to drill a hole of 5 micrometer, the diameter of the tool is also going to be very small. So in that case, how can we make sure that we have a sufficient amount of abrasive particle in the gap?
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
What you said? I could not hear your completely.
Okay.
Hello.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hello.
Yes, tell me.
Okay, sir. My question is on the micro ultrasonic machining.
Yes.
So in the micro ultrasonic machining, the tool size is going to be very small. For example, if you want to drill a hole of 5 micrometer,
Correct.
the tool is also going to be the 5 micrometer. So
Correct.
in that case, how can we make sure that we have sufficient amount of?
It should be lower than 5 micrometer.
Right, sir. So can we make sure that in that case also the number of abrasive particle in the gap is going to be very small? So can we make sure that we can get enough amount of machining with that limited amount of
See,
particle?
one thing let me tell you.
Is it a feasible?
Every process has its own limitation. So if you are talking of 5 micron,
Correct.
I
Yes.
will not recommend ultrasonic micro machining, but still if you, there is nothing
Right.
wrong in principle in
Okay.
using ultrasonic micro machining. You have to have the tool of at the most 1 or 2 micron size. People have been able to make the tools of
Right, sir.
8 micron size. Say Professor Rahman at National University Singapore, they have been able to make tools
Yes,
of
right.
8 micron size. If you can make tools of 1 or 2 micron size, and if you can have the abrasive particles of nanometer size, say few hundred nanometer, I am not talking
Right,
about
right.
micrometer, it's nanometer, that is 0.1, 0.2 micrometer size, then you can do it. But getting those kind of the abrasive particles and making tools, this will be able to sustain ultrasonic vibration, because when there is a vibration, there is a force. There is a vibration, the tool should not break. So what I will suggest that rather than using ultrasonic micro machining for 5 micrometer, better to go for other processes like electrochemical micro machining or laser beam micro machining, or better processes electron beam micro machining if they have the facility. As I have shown you, they were able to make 9 micrometer hole easily. They can go 1 or 2 micrometer hole or 5 micrometer hole easily by electron beam micro machining. But that machine is very expensive. It will cost 2 to 3 crores or 20. So you have to see the limit, all kind of limitations. I decided which process should be used. I hope it convinces you.
Definitely, sir, definitely.
Hello.
Thank you so much, sir. It is very pleasure to.
Welcome.
Okay, next
Yes,
one is
please.
Manoj Kumar. Please ask your question. Mr. Manoj Kumar.
Yes, sir. A very good afternoon to everyone, sir. Sir, my question is on surface modification. As it, sir, my question is on surface modification. As micro electrochemical machining, EDM is popularly used for the surface modification. In addition to the surface coating. So how ECM, as ECM is a non-thermal process, so how why not ECM is properly used for surface modification, as EDM is popularly known for surface modification, but ECM is not. However, the thermal is a non-thermal process, and the residual stresses and heat affected zone would be the minimum. So what are the main reasons that ECM is not used in surface modification processes, not so popularly known
Okay.
surface modification?
Your question is very good question and very important. See, you as an expert of micro machining or surface modification, you should know the merits and demerits of all these processes. First, let me tell you about electric discharge machining application for surface modification. This process is based on melting and vaporization of the workpiece material. Right? When you are melting and vaporizing the workpiece material, you can do it, but it is associated with
Hello.
Hello. Sir, you are not audible.
मनोज सर जैन सर की वॉइस नहीं आ रही है.
Yeah. Sir, you are not audible. Hello.
कुछ कनेक्टिविटी में प्रॉब्लम आई है.
हाँ. Hello.
एक मिनट ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं सर, अभी ज्वाइन कर.
Okay.
Yes, sir is joining. Please wait. Yes.
मनोज जी जैन सर ज्वाइन कर लिए हैं.
जी सर.
मेरा इंटरनेट इस पे कर दूं,
यस सर.
मोबाइल बंद कर दूं?
नहीं सर, मोबाइल से चालू
हाँ,
रहने दीजिए.
किससे करना है बोलो?
सर मोबाइल से चालू रहने दीजिए आप.
हाँ, तो ये कह रहा है the host would like to you to unmute. All right. Hello. Hello.
Yes sir, you are audible.
तो मैं मोबाइल बंद कर देता हूँ.
Okay sir, there is a lot of echo sound.
नहीं, वो मोबाइल चालू.
Okay.
हाँ बोलिए.
Yes sir.
हाँ बताइए. स्क्रीन शेयर करो.
Yes.
ये कह रहा है डिसेबल कर दिया आपने स्क्रीन शेयर.
Okay.
The host disabled participant is screen sharing. आप डिसेबल कर दीजिए ना इसको.
जी सर कर दिए.
हैं?
हाँ.
मोबाइल को एक सेगमेंट को रिमूव कर दीजिए मनोज जी, या तो मोबाइल को रिमूव कर दीजिए, उसको तभी क्लियर आएगा. तो सर किससे डेस्कटॉप से ना?
Yes
तो
sir.
मोबाइल, हाँ मोबाइल सेगमेंट को रिमूव कर दीजिए वहां से.
मेरा मोबाइल भी चालू है ना.
हाँ हाँ.
मैं रीस्टार्ट करने देता हूँ मोबाइल को.
Yes sir, you are audible. You can explain.
हाँ बताइए. आप मेरे को सुन पा रहे हैं?
Yeah, you are audible sir.
तो बताइए फिर क्या करना है.
हाँ.
मनोज जी का क्वेश्चन था. मनोज जी अपने क्वेश्चन को रिपीट करें.
Yes, sir. So my question.
हाँ मनोज जी काइंडली रिपीट योर क्वेश्चन.
Okay. So my question is on surface modification. As in micro EDM process, the EDM process is popularly, famous for the surface modification process. But that this.
Okay, let me reply your question. I remember now. So I have told you that EDM process is basically thermal process. So you are able to modify the surface. Now the question is, why are you not able to modify the surface by ECM process?
Yes.
People are scared or afraid of two things in ECM process. One is the electrolyte is corrosive in nature. So most of the metals which are machined by ECM process, they get corroded due to the corrosive nature of the electrolyte. That's why people are not using it. And unfortunately, this process has not become popular because of second reason also, that is the tooling design in ECM process. A lot of work has been done at IIT Kanpur as long as tooling design in ECM is concerned. Now, if you can solve this problem of corrosive nature electrolyte, then it can become very popular. And secondly, EDM is being machined. EDM machines are being made by many manufacturers across the globe. So their publicity is very high, while it is not the case with ECM machine. Otherwise, in principle, I should say that ECM machine would give much better results than EDM for feature creation, for finishing, and for surface modification.
Okay, sir. One more process is also there. You have done a lot of work on that. ECDM process is also there. So in which, sir, ECDM process is also there.
Yes.
One process ECDM in which you have lots of studies.
Correct.
Sir, we use ECDM process. It could be the better than ECM and lesser beneficial to the EDM process.
Dr. Manoj, I have some constraint as long as thermal processes are concerned. Whatever process you use, either you use ECDM process or EDM process. If it is a thermal process, heat is generated. Heat is generated, micro nano cracks are formed. Recast layer is there. That is why I normally prefer ECM process. But as I told you, it is not very popular because of those two reasons. That's why ECDM also will give more or less the similar things, but EDM is giving. And second disadvantage may be that it is using electrolyte, which will be again corrosive in nature. So that is another disadvantage.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, next one is Redmi. The name showing is Redmi.
Yes, tell
Hello.
me.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, ask your question.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I have attended one faculty development program in 2008 in IIT Kanpur,
Okay.
conducted by you, Micro
Right.
Machine.
12 years back, right? Okay,
Yeah. So I have one question, sir. What are the research area regarding the process parameters? Okay, so we have learned input pulse current, pulse on time, pulse off time, voltage. Along with what are the other process parameter which can be used for research area, and what are the recent material through which we can machine through using EDM?
Okay, Dr. Redmi, let me tell you.
No, sir. My name is Surendra Singh. Sorry, sir. My name is Surendra Singh.
It is showing Redmi.
Yeah.
Mr. Surendra Singh, what I am, your question is good. There are a lot of work going on in EDM and EDMM process across the globe as long as research is concerned. But what we really need to do in India is scientific analysis, not that just perform certain experiments, perform the parametric analysis, and use the design of experiments, conduct the 8 experiments or 12 experiments, and submit PhD thesis. I'm sorry to say it, but it is
Okay,
the
sir.
fact that is going on across the country.
Yes, sir.
What
Right,
I am
sir.
suggesting that you people, youngsters should do scientific research in EDM process. I can give you some examples where people can do lot of work in EDM process. Just like dielectric.
Okay.
Okay, people are what you must have read if you are working in this area. You must have read that people have used powder. They have
Okay.
mixed up the powder like
Yes.
electrically conducting powder, electrically non-conducting powder, and
Yes,
they
sir.
are trying to improve the performance of the EDM process. My question
sir.
to all of them is how it is affecting. Suppose I
Yes.
am using electrically conducting powder, the ceramic powder. How it
Okay.
is affecting the dielectric properties? How it
Okay.
is affecting the EDM process? If I
Okay.
am using, say, aluminium
Okay.
powder, nano powder or micro powder, how it
Okay.
is affecting the dielectric property?
Okay.
Nobody is trying to attempt it. I have told this, I have advised to a couple of students, say at IIT Kanpur, at MANIT Bhopal, MNNIT Bhopal, but they don't want to go into the physics of the process. And unless you go into the physics of the process, you will not get it. I hope you know who has
Yes,
done a
sir.
lot of work in EDM and ECM processes.
Yes, sir.
Professor McGough of England. He is
Okay.
not an engineer. He is basically a physicist.
Yes, sir.
Or Lazarenko brothers, who developed this particular EDM process. Of Lazarenko brothers, I hope you know it from
Yes,
USSR,
sir.
old USSR, now no more USSR. They developed this. They were not engineers.
Yes, sir.
They were scientists. And they
Yes, sir.
developed. So what I am suggesting, if you really want to do breakthrough
Okay,
research in EDM or ECDM or ECSM or ECM, you must go into the science behind it. You must go into the physics, mathematics, or chemistry behind it. Just like in ECM, unless you go to the electrochemistry You cannot do basic research in electrochemical machining. And tell me honestly, how many of you participants have studied electrochemistry? I don't think anybody has, or
Yes, sir.
maybe some of you, but majority of you might have not studied electrochemistry at all. So
Yes,
how
sir.
can you do real electrochemical machining research?
So most of the researchers are working on new recent material and they apply some new algorithm, newly developed algorithm. Very less work has been done on types of dielectrics, as you told us.
Please, sir,
Uh,
this is what I told you in the beginning, that most of you are doing, changing the workpiece material, conducting the experiment, submitting the PhD thesis.
yes, sir.
Changing the electrolyte, doing some 8, 10 or 15 experiments. That is not real research. All right, you will get the PhD, nobody can stop you. But if you are asking me honestly,
Okay,
it
sir.
is not really the
Yes, sir.
scientific
Yes, sir.
research that people should.
So thank you for
Anyway,
your
this
guidance,
is
sir.
my opinion. Please don't get hurt.
Hello.
This is
No,
my
no, no, sir,
personal
sir.
opinion. You may or may not like it.
Sir, I'm very grateful to you. You are giving us such a beautiful,
Welcome.
very useful advice, sir.
Yes, tell me. Any other question, please?
Yes, Manoj ji, next question.
Okay.
Hello.
Mr. Ankit, ask your question, Ankit ji.
Hello. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. My question. Hello. Good evening, VK Jain, sir.
Okay.
Myself, Ankit Oza, and I am from Pandit Dindayal Petroleum University, Gandhinagar. And I am working on the wire ECDM process. That is basically used for machining of various non-conducting materials. So, sir, would like to ask the specific or targeted application for by which we can produce the micro channels on various non-conducting
So you
materials.
are working on which project? Wire
Sir,
ECM?
wire ECDM.
Acha, wire ECDM. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Tell me.
So, can you give me some suitable or specific or targeted application where we can use the fabricate micro channels in various non-conducting materials?
See, Doctor, as I mentioned, I think somewhere, Dr. Anjali Kulkarni, she has done a lot of work on electrochemical sparking. Let me make it very clear. I don't like to call it ECDM process. I rather call it
ECSM process.
Why I call it? Let me explain you in a, because it is the spark in which we are interested. It is not the discharge only. Discharge may create spark, discharge may create arc. I am not interested in arc. And if you go back to the originator, Lazarenko Birdar, they called it as electro spark machining, not electro discharge machining. If you see the original name with which it was patented first time, it was electro spark machining process, not electro discharge. Later on, people patented it in electro discharge machining and they made the EDM machine now. But anyway, that is the background. So electrochemical spark machining, lot of work has been done at IIT Kanpur, you can refer that. Now wire ECDM process, you can use it for electrically non-conducting material also. And that is very good application because wire EDM process, you cannot use it for electrically non-conducting material. Wire ECM process, you cannot use it for electrically non-conducting material. But wire ECDM process, you can use it for electrically non-conducting material, for micro machining as well as macro machining.
Yes, sir.
And there are a lot of applications in industry where electrically non-conducting materials is ceramic itself. All ceramics are not electrically conducting and all of them are not electrically non-conducting. So if you have the ceramics electrically non-conducting, you can use it. Just like one of my students has developed PCB, printed circuit board,
Yes, sir.
using ECSM process.
Yes, sir.
The printed circuit board creation uses a lot of processes and deposition of copper, etc., etc. He used a plate and created the circuit on the PCB printed circuit board with the help of ECSM process and ECM process, and it was excellent. It's a one-step process, not many steps process. So you can use it for electrically non-conductive material. Lot of applications are.
Okay.
Any other
Sir,
question, please?
Okay, next, this is the last query. Mr. Triveni Roy, please ask your question.
Hello, sir. I'm Tribeni Roy from Imperial College, London. I'm not sure whether you remember me or not. Anyways, I was one of the lucky ones to attend one of your micro manufacturing courses at IIT Kanpur.
I can remember your face.
Yes, sir. So thank you, sir, for the nice talk. Every time I listen to you, I gain a lot of knowledge from your talks.
Thank you very
So
much.
this question is basically on the advancements of what future holds for us. Is like, since you know that additive manufacturing has taken a major step towards manufacturing.
Yeah.
So what is your opinion on what lies the future of micro machining, specifically micro machining, when we compare to the fact that most of the projects that are currently being going on is most in additive manufacturing? Is it that at some point of time additive manufacturing will fade out, or micro machining will fade out, or both will go hand in hand?
See, hello,
Yes, sir.
can you hear me?
Yes, clearly, sir.
See, I tell you, as I told in the very beginning, research in micro manufacturing, micro machining is going on at excellent stage. First thing. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Now, you see, you tell me, Professor Roy, either in the kitchen or in the office or in your college or university, can you work without micro products?
No, sir.
Any product you tell me, like my wife uses lighter, again micro things are there. So micro manufacturing in general, micro machining in particular, has lot of application. Doesn't matter whether it is IT. IT cannot survive. If you see the origin of IT, it cannot survive at all without micro manufacturing. What is the circuit you are having? Electronic circuits. How are you making it? It may not be mechanical, it may be some other micro manufacturing process. That is how you are able to make them. And once you are able to make hardware, then only you can do the software working. Hello?
Yes, sir.
I just want to, because I am not able to see anything on the screen, so I am just confirming in between whether you are able to hear me. That's why
My video, yeah.
you cannot do anything without micro manufacturing in today's world. It may take different shifts, doesn't matter. See, Liga is the one which people mostly are using of IT people. Hard disk. How are you going to fabricate those hard disks? As I mentioned to you today, there are processes where you are removing the material in the form of atom by atom.
Yes.
So that is where, or iron beam machining, focus iron beam machining. These are the processes which are going to set the target for IT also.
Yes, sir.
I hope it tells something about the question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, welcome.
Okay, I think there is no query left. Now, I hope all queries are satisfied. Now, I will call Mr. Prem Prakash Pandit for vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. This is a small word with a huge importance, and that I'm delighted to have this responsibility of delivering vote of thanks. I am Prem Prakash Pandit, moderator of this webinar. Would like to thank our guest, Dr. V.K. Jain, sir, to come all the way. They gave away the gift of their valuable knowledge. Thank you very much, sir. Firstly, our sincere thanks to Dr. Sunil Kumar, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, RGPV Bhopal, and Dr. S.C. Chobe, sir, Coordinator, TechTube Third, for supporting us for organizing this webinar, Micro Machining and Overview, under TechTube Third. In the series of thanks, I would also like to thank to Dr. Arun Kumar Tyagi, sir, Director, IPS Group of Colleges, Dr. Premanand Singh Chauhan, sir, Principal, IPS College of Technology and Management, Mr. P.K. Ghosh, sir, CAO, IPS Group of Colleges, who supported in conduction of such an informative webinar for all the participants. I also thank RGPV and TechTube team to give a chance to organize this webinar. I will thank each and everyone who supported to organize and carry out the plan successfully. Once again, thank you everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is it
Thanks,
over?
sir.
Thank you all of you. मनोज जी एंड करें मीटिंग को फिर?
Yes, sir.
और चौहान साहब ठीक है, बढ़िया.
थैंक यू सर, बहुत बढ़िया सर, बहुत शानदार.
I was really scared. This internet connection is a big problem for me.
Yes, sir.
But that's why I was scared that it may be stopping.
No sir, बहुत बढ़िया प्रोग्राम रहा और really we all have enjoyed and really now feeling energetic after listening you.
Thank you very much. Good.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Have a good day.
मनोज जी एंड करें मीटिंग को?
जी सर. Okay, sir.
Okay. Bye.